I'm Jason, and ever since I was young, I had a racing dream. And this is the story of my M2 competition. We've had ups, we've had downs, a lot of broken parts, but also a lot of wins. And in order to understand where we're at now and where we're going, you need to know where we began. So everybody, here we are, and let's be real for a second. At some point in every car enthusiast's life, we go from being over the moon about the car that we just bought to the slippery slope of modifying it. And whether it's for looks or performance, try to bring yourself back to the moment you got your car, when it was stock or when you first got it. And for some, that's right now. And for others, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Flashback to the day that I picked up my M2, and in my eyes, on that day, it was perfect. But then somewhere, somehow, you get that itch. Whether you caught the bug from scrolling through Instagram or seeing other cars at car meets, something happens. You start with a simple mod, and before you know it, you have no idea where your rear seats are. And this car went through so many different iterations, from stock to some small aesthetic mods to OEM plus. Then it got too nice to drive all the time. Then it was sort of dual purpose, half track, half street. And now it's sort of creeping more and more to a full-blown time attack or track only car. And as you can see, the Recaro podiums are already sold. They're out of the car. And we're going to install some new Recaro Profi SPG XLs into this car and sort of reflect on my journey with this car and sort of tell its story. I told myself I'll never modify it. Those words actually came out of my mouth. I just want to slide it around, go to the track, occasionally go to some car meets, and it started off as a fun daily driver. A car I took everywhere. The commute to work, the Sunday morning drives, car meets, and of course to the track. And although it wasn't very fast on the stock Pilot Super Sports, I had so much fun sliding this car around. Really, there was no expectation, no lap timing, just pure fun. Do you remember those days? But then something happened. I heard my friend Ryan's exhaust. Then I saw the BMW M Performance catalog. The car went from perfect to needing more. So the thing is, guys, every mod that I have put on this car that has made it better for the track has definitely made it worse for the street. And that's the unfortunate truth. Let me give you an example. Taking out the airbags are, definitely not safe for the street, right? But on track with a harness, with a Hans, with rollover protection, it's gonna be much, much better, right? So it just seems like that, all these things that I wanna do for the track just make it worse for the street. And we're sort of at a crossroads right now where I'm kind of past the point of no return, right? There's no way that I'm going to be returning this car back to stock. I would never do that. I absolutely love this car. It's going to be with me forever, but it's just at a point where, either I take it to a full-blown time attack race car or I keep it the way it is. It's crazy, like the car was perfect when I first bought it, at least in my mind, and slowly over time it just started getting not good enough. The pursuit of time, I wanted to chase a 115 at TMP. We got that. Then we got a 114. Then that wasn't enough. Now we're chasing 113s. At GP did a 126. Now we're chasing 125s, right? And this car still has its full interior. It still has all the electronics. It still has Apple CarPlay. The next iteration is that we just gut it. We take all the carpets out. We take Apple CarPlay out. We make it into a full-blown race car. We put Lexan windows on the back and on the side. And the next step would be to full cage it, right? And to take it off the streets completely. And so what started off as my trusty car that I drove everywhere, I took it to tons of car meets and had so much fun with it on the street. Those Sunday morning drives that were absolutely amazing, that were just so much fun, has become a car that I'm probably only gonna drive on the track, right? And so it's kind of crazy. Like, I'm sort of at that crossroads where I gotta make a decision, right? I can take this car if I full cage it. You know, this car's a full cage away from doing, you know, say SC sprints, wheel-to-wheel racing, right? And you know, we have even more motorsports parts going into it. We have planned, we have the Drexler rear differential. And the thing is, with motorsports parts and with things like high-end coilovers and AP brakes without seals, you can't really drive it all the time. The rebuild cycles are just crazy. You know, that Drexler needs to be rebuilt every, you know, so it's like something like 16,000 race kilometers. I know that's a lot of race time, but on the street you can really chew that up very quickly, right? You don't want that added wear and tear on those parts. And so I reminisce about all the times I've had with this car, all the different iterations that it's been through, and it's crazy that the next step is, well, to completely take it off the streets and just keep it as a track only car. On seats alone, we started with the stock ones, then the Sportster GT, then the AMX Sportster CS, then pole positions, then Recaro podiums, now SPGs, and next the Recaro P1300s. Every part installed is a checkpoint in this journey. At the OEM Plus point, I could have stopped, and dare I say it, this was my favorite edition of this car. I went to car meets, I drove it everywhere, it was fun on track, and it was still comfortable for the street. But the pursuit of more took me further. And here's the thing. It starts with a little bit of rice here, a little bit of rice there, and next thing you know, the car's not even streetable anymore, or even street legal. But the pursuit of more took me further. The goals had changed. M Performance coilovers became Öhlins Road and Track, which became one-way nitron coilovers, which became three-way nitron coilovers. So now, as we transition from a half-street, half-track car, we're at a crossroads. Do we take it further? So everyone, here we are. I tried filming the install, and shout out to all the YouTubers that do install videos. But to save everyone the agony, and myself the agony of trying to get all the angles and filming it right, I went ahead and installed the seats already. And again, shout out to Luke Lay from 13 Motorsports for providing these seats, and for MTech Auto for all the mounts and harnesses. And I think that looks absolutely amazing. I think the SPGs fit really, really well with this car. And honestly, the Recaro podiums, I love them, but they don't really have a place in my garage anymore. If this car becomes a full-blown track car with a full cage, I want to go with something like a Recaro P1300 or some other, you know, full containment seat. But I think this looks absolutely amazing. Maybe this will become the passenger seat later on when we have the P1300. But guys, I still have 8 months to decide. You know, I have a deposit, refundable deposit down, but officially the full cage would start if I choose to go with it in September. So we have at least this season with this car to have a lot of fun. And honestly, we would, you know, probably part out a lot of the carbon pieces on the car, get new aero for the car as well. And there's a lot of parts on this car that I would probably sell as well, like the Venturi intakes. Just take off all the nicer parts, like even the M Performance carbon fiber mirror caps would have to go. Probably the rear wing we would swap out as well. But my point is, this car has gone through so many iterations. The thing is, did we ruin this car? And it was meant to be a half-track, half-street sort of car. And now it's more like a track-only car. And I guess the next progression of this is to do full cage. And it pains me to say, like, we might take this car off of the streets for good, right? But we have a lot of really cool projects coming in. Honestly, guys, we have the MTech Auto JD2 M4. We have a lot of sponsors for that car. A lot of people are going to be helping us out. This car, again, if it gets the full cage and we finish the season of Time Attack, we'll be able to go wheel-to-wheel racing with it, right? CSC sprints. Of course, the TT endurance race car, we're going to campaign this year as well. And we have a number of cars, including all these Porsches, that we're going to sort of document and continue to drive. Of course, all of the regular driver's paddock car reviews that people are used to as well. But can you relate? You know, you start off with a street car, you do one mod. You know, it starts with a little bit of rice here, a little bit of rice there. And again, all of a sudden you don't know where your rear seats are and you can't hear your passenger. But it's a really slippery slope, but I think part of every car enthusiast's journey, you start to modify your car more and more and more. And honestly, this car becoming a full track car, I wouldn't have it any other way. You know, coming from when I first started track to where I started doing a little bit of time attack, a little bit of competition, all the way to now where we're doing sprint and endurance racing. It's been a real journey, and this car is the reason behind this channel. Something needs to be said about going windows down on a sunny day, letting your mind go blank as you rip up a back road. And those days I'll miss dearly, but the journey has brought us here. This car, I bought it new, and with the friends over at M-Tech Auto, I literally chopped up every body panel, the roof, the bumper, the rear bumper, the door cards, and more. I know every quirk, every squeak, and every rattle. This car has its issues, and it's not the sharpest tool in the shed, but this is my weapon of choice, and I'm excited for the next step in the journey. Did I hear somebody say, single turbo?